Welcome, everybody, to the Late Entry Podcast. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Double Dose, joined today by Buck and by Ben.
What's up?
Two of my friends. This is the first episode, so it's something new we're trying out. Thank you, everybody, for watching us. Today we're going to get into talking about some NFL topics, playoff results, new coaching movements. Going to get into a little bit of the WNBA, the NBA. Going to have a trivia segment, and then I'm going to finish it up by talking about some city beef, New York versus Chicago. So let's get right into it. Ben is a Buffalo Bills fan, so I know it's been a hard weekend for you. You got anything you want to get off your chest?
Yeah. I mean, if there's any other Bills listeners out there, I don't know if it's not really in the right place because I'm in Chicago, but I'm originally from New York. But this weekend was rough. This year was supposed to be our year, but Pat Mahomes and his butt buddy refs pull it off again. But we'll talk though. Just dive into it. Opening drive was the most horrific thing I watched like all season long. Like we've been playing like a Super Bowl team up until like the first down of that Chiefs Bills game. That was rough. A few more things I want to talk about is what are your guys' opinions on some of the calls that the refs made? Are there any that stood out to you, or is it just under the bridge? Or
I feel like I'm kind of like you said, under the bridge for me. I do know there's a lot of drama with that fourth down. Was it a fourth down or first down? Was it not? I don't know if I really have a big opinion on that one. But
oh, you don't think he crossed the line?
I think, okay, you know what? Let me take it back. I do have an opinion, but not on the result of that play. I think that how in the hell do we have 35 fucking people surrounding a ball and a ref on either side is supposed to judge if he made it or if he didn't? I don't understand how we're in 2025. Wow. And we don't have a fucking microchip in the ball. Actually, I think there is one, but they don't use it.
Right.
Why?
I think you're right.
I know it's like tradition to have the chain gang and shit like that, but for stuff like this, why are we not just looking at the GPS? All right, the microchip says here. They do it for tennis, don't they? They can tell if the ball was in or out. We should not be still relying on fucking one guy trying to peer past 500 dudes to see if the ball crossed the line or not. That's my opinion.
I don't think you're wrong. I don't think that there's going to be a time where the NFL puts a chip in the ball. I think it's tradition. Okay. I just think they're too hung up on tradition. However, I do think it's a good idea. But I do think even without the microchip, without having that conversation, I mean, you look at the line cam and he looks over. I mean, he looks on the line to me at the very least. Like, and watching it live was kind of crazy because you see one line judge come in at one like yard line and the other one come in at the first down. And you can kind of see as he comes in, he like comes back and moves it back, you know, to be in line with the other guy behind the first down line. So to me, it's a little bit more about what was going on between the communication of them, those two guys, like specifically those two refs, and then also subsequently the replay team, like in New York. Like, if we're going to have this replay situation, like, are we really going to sit there and all watch with our eyes the ball hit the ground and then call it a catch? Like that to me was more egregious than anything. And so, but you could argue that same thing for the first down as well.
I feel like, well, if I'm not mistaken, for the first down, wasn't it the ref that was closer was the one who said it wasn't a first down, right?
I believe it was, yes.
Correct.
So,
but that was mind blowing. But before that, the going 0 for 3 on tush pushes with the 6'5", 245-pound man was mind blowing to me. And Tony Romo's talking about, oh yeah, Josh Allen always goes left. He went 3 like every tush, or he went left every tush push, and none of them worked. And I was so like, dude, just go right. Like, do the same play, just go to the right. Like, it was frustrating to watch.
I thought it was interesting that last week when they played against the Ravens, one of the big talking points was how, and I'm not saying this is a dig either, but I know like there are people saying like how mature Josh has gotten to where he was on the goal line and he just went down, he didn't toss the ball back. And I was thinking about that when he was at the goal line this last game and tossed that bitch back. Now, granted, it didn't result in a fumble or anything like that, but I was just thinking like, but I mean, you gotta bring out all the tricks when you're trying to beat Mahomes.
Yeah, you're talking about the very last play, right?
No. It was early. It was when they went for 2.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, one of the.
Yeah,
that was.
Yeah.
And then my other qualm. Okay, I actually have 2 more.
yeah.
The toss that was considered, it was a question of whether it was an interception or not, like who had control of the ball, and when they hit the ground, I was like, maybe I don't know. Bills caught the ball all the way, and then we went to New York for review, and they're gonna give it to the other guy. However, they showed the review tape, and the ball is like hitting the ground. Which I feel like has been a common thing all season. They're like, did the ball touch the ground before he had control? This gray area of control versus the ground. Oh my God. So yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I missed that play.
Okay.
See, and that was the one that stuck out in my mind, was that I clearly live saw the ball hit the ground. So I couldn't understand the call at all. I just thought, like, that's an incomplete pass all the way. And even if, and I do agree, I will concede the Bills player had, like, initial control with the defender's arm, if I remember correctly, in his arms too. And then they went to the ground, and the ball hits the ground. And before they go to the ground, the ball is like slipping out of the Bills guy's hands. It's kind of in the Chiefs guy's hand, and then it hits the ground. It's like, in any other game, that's an incomplete pass.
Yeah. And then this is like a 2-part problem for me, because immediately the next play, Chiefs run the ball, they get stuffed like -1 yards, and they decide to redo the play. Granted, the Bills coach Sean McDermott, he threw a challenge flag, but that flag was thrown before the play started, so they're just going to let the play go all the way through and not play, like, blow the whistle to pause the play, cancel the play like that. It was mind-blowing. You just gave them like a free redo for a second down, 5 yards like to the goal line.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Andy Reid and the Chiefs get every timeout right when they need it, I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, you know what the Texans were saying when they played the Chiefs? They were like, we can't leave it in the hands of the refs because we already know how that's going to turn out.
Right. Yeah. I also think that, like, I think you're, going back to the tush push going to the left, like, it's things like that you can't, like, when you go back and you look at film as the Bills organization, the guys that are staying, Josh Allen, McDermott, when you go back and you look at the film, can you really sit there and say that Dalton Kincaid dropping that pass, or not getting that first down, or that, catch, not catch, whatever you want to call it really evens out at the end of the day? Like, when you see plays like that, because I agree with you, it's like, dude, go right. Like, call literally anything else. Like, do literally anything else. And they don't. They go for it. What was it, 3 times in a row?
Yeah. I don't know if it was in a row, but like in one drive, I think.
Yeah, and that was the play calling to me, and I guess, hindsight's always 20/20. You can always, look at a game piece by piece when you're looking at film afterwards, but it's like, you're going into it knowing that you're, 0-4 to them?
I think so.
Right.
The playoffs, right?
Playoffs,
going into them that almost every single game has had one, if not multiple, controversial calls by the refs, whatever you want to call them, whichever way, you know what I mean? So, like, if you're walking into a game knowing that, like, I don't know, I kind of hang that a little bit more on the coaching staff than anything else. Like, you're the ones that need to come up with that game plan, you know what I mean? And the first drive was not great. Coming out of the gate was not great. Like, they hung in there because they're a very good team with a lot of very talented players. But at the end of the day, I mean, you walk in there knowing what you're up against. It's not just Patrick Mahomes and a great mind like Andy Reid and, a hell of a defensive coordinator in Spagnuolo. You're not just walking into that. You're walking into a hell of a lot more history. You're walking into a hell of a lot more, controversy, if you will, with the refs and calls and all that. And honestly, controversial calls, yes, happen a lot in Chiefs games, but they do happen a lot in a lot of NFL games too. So, like, you can't hang your hat on that. You kind of have to go back and look at what did you do wrong overall, taking those things out of the question. And I bet you if you were to look at film as a coach and somebody in that position, I bet you're going to find a lot more wrong with the coaching and play calling and maybe the execution as well, rather than, oh shit, they didn't call a first down, or that was an incomplete pass, or what have you.
I do think there was part of it though, like with like kind of what you were saying though, but like with the coaching, I feel like they did come in there like prepared, knowing that like like if we have a chance to go for it on fourth, like we're going to, like we're not giving Mahomes the ball back.
No, yeah.
Like we're gonna take every chance that we can to keep the ball in our hands and keep it out of Mahomes' hands. And they attacked like that the entire game, which I gotta respect. Going for it, going for two, stuff like that. Like when we have the ball, we have to maximize on it.
Right, and I agree with that to a point. But what wasn't the last play where Dalton Kincaid dropped the ball? I mean, the whole fucking world knew that they were gonna blitz, and they really weren't prepared for that blitz.
Someone was saying that Josh should have slid protection to the right, but that's, I guess, only if he identified that they were coming. Everyone did say that, yes, like they did know that they were going to blitz, but Spagnuolo, they were like saying that he just, was in his bag real deep that game. They were saying that like he had waited the whole game to like on that play bring out his most like forgot the word that they were saying, but his most like hard to decipher like blitz.
Like who's coming, who's staying.
I forgot what the name of it was, but basically like where you had everyone, they had it faking look like they weren't going to blitz, and then I think it was the corner, right? So it was something they hadn't seen all game, and he hit him with it as a surprise on the last. That's kind of nuts. I do think it's very ironic that the Bills beat the Ravens on a tight end dropping a 2-point conversion, and then the Bills lost the immediate next week with a tight end dropping a catch.
It was hard to watch, yeah.
And I will say too, it's crazy how like something so small can change like perception, because if Kincaid had caught that pass and they had wound up driving down the field and scoring, that would have been like an all-time historic Josh Allen moment. Like getting away from that, going down as you're going down, flinging that boy, putting it on target, giving your tight end a chance to catch it. That was a huge play by him.
Oh, 100%. Regardless of the blitz, regardless of him not sliding or what have you to the right. Yeah, agreed completely.
Did you see like the controversy on Twitter? There's this guy, I can't think of his name, that basically was like breaking down tape, and he was showing that like Shakir was running this like orbit. So like he came like into Josh Allen and then went back out. And I guess the Bills have done that a lot over like the course of the last few seasons, and it was open, but Josh didn't see it because he was running to the right. And it was like the whole debate on like, should he have known that he was there? Should he have hit that or not? And then like you had like actual players like Ryan Fitzpatrick being like, please never break down tape again, because it's hard to make that read when you've got a lineman and a corner in your face.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think, at the end of the day, that's true. I mean, anybody can sit at home and dissect film all day long. They don't have a 330 defensive linemen coming at them at full fucking speed.
Exactly. I do want to give a shout out to Bills fans though. Y'all some real classy individuals. The fact that everybody was donating to Mark Andrews' diabetes charity, trying to make him feel better. Like, you guys are really some like real classy fans. I feel like
Buffalo cares.
What'd you say?
I was saying Buffalo cares. I feel like Buffalo is known for having like a crazy fan base is one thing, but crazy like good, like with donations and support has always been like a common theme. Even, people love to shovel out that fucking stadium. So
I feel like you guys are like the antithesis of Cowboys or Philly fans, like where they're both known for being crazy fan bases, but like awful. Like you had like the story that went viral of like the Eagles fans like bullying that lady who was in like Packers gear. To where the Philadelphia Eagles like organization like had to reach out to her and give her like some Packers gear and stuff like that, trying to make up for how bad their fans were. And then and then Bills fans are like, you guys party like super hard, but you guys are always like, I feel like doing very classy moves like that. So shout out to Bills fans, Bills Mafia.
Appreciate that. Yeah. Bills Mafia all the way.
Yeah.
Facts.
Have you recovered yet, Ben?
No, because honestly, because I was actually in New York, not for the Bills game, so most of New York was down, and as soon as I landed back in Chicago for work, my entire phone was blowing up. Are you doing okay, buddy?
I know I know I got to get my get back because
Yeah, you got your lick bag.
literally when the Lions lost, I was getting, as I'm reading messages from people, I'm having other messages pop up asking me like, "Are you okay?" And you were one of them. So
Yeah.
I hit you back after that Bills game too.
I know, dude. I think about like Lions. If it was Lions Bills like Super Bowl, that would like that. Just the game that the Lions and Bills played against each other was just insane.
I think that's what the
Yeah.
country wanted was to see that.
Yeah,
Fact.
that's what the world wanted.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, you can't relate, huh, Buck?
No, I can't. But girl can dream
One day.
one day.
Kind of talking.
My life, who knows?
Excuse me.
Bless.
Excuse
Bless
me.
you.
Kind of talking about like Mahomes and stuff like that too. I had a feeling like as I'm watching this, and I'm like, dude, Patrick Mahomes is just inevitable. He's literally Thanos. Like, no matter what happens, I just know that he's gonna pull it out. And I'm watching the game, and I'm just like, the Bills aren't gonna do it. I was like, even if they had scored, because I'm looking at it, and I'm like, even if they had scored, they still had like it was like 3 minutes left. When that Kincaid played happened, and I was like, Mahomes, I thought that we were gonna see another like 13 seconds left game. Like Mahomes is gonna lead this crazy drive down, and then even when the Bills had made the defensive stops, they converted on third down, wasn't it? To get the first down, which like ended the game. And literally, I was like, I know for a fact that they're going to get this. Like, I don't think the Bills are getting the ball back, and they didn't. It's like they always, even like their offense has been so much less fun to watch, like over the last few seasons. But it's like I just know that when push comes to shove, they're right there to make that play that they need at that time to go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the refs are inevitable.
The refs. I mean, the refs didn't cause Kincaid to drop that. They weren't.
Yeah,
they
but
weren't,
I'm the three.
There
other
was a flag on the field, though.
The three other
they did
questionable
pick up.
calls I mentioned are opportunities you're taking away. It's time you're taking away. Like,
It's true.
So whether it was Kincaid's fault or not, I don't think that's the reason. I think kind of what Buck was saying about you could watch tape all day, but I don't think that's a better coaching problem. I think that's you're just losing opportunities because of bullshit calls problem.
That's
and
fair.
Or questionable calls. I don't know bullshit, but some
you-
of them were like valid. But
So would you?
And not only
Are you putting the loss on the refs?
yes.
Like how of 100%, how much blame are you giving the refs of 100%?
I was gonna say like maybe like 60-40, like
yeah.
60
I
on the
think that's
refs?
because the first half of the game, like the Bills were not playing too hot. They would always run on first and second down, like in the earlier season. They just didn't do that at all, and like they weren't letting cook. And it was just like, why are we going with a different strategy than like what we were playing with before? But then, like as the game went on, I mean, the Bills are never like a first half team. Like the Ravens scored first. Everyone always scores first on the Bills, but they kind of compete to the same level as the team that they're playing against. But yeah, I'm still just kind of like the calls from the refs. Like even not in the Bills game. What was it? It was like 2 weeks ago, the last Ravens game when it was the Texans game. The two defensive backs hit each other instead of Patrick Mahomes,
That was
and they were
an
calling
awful
like
call.
roughing the passer. I was like, if you have it on film, like why is this like a question still? So I still think it's like favoritism towards certain people.
That's fair. Buck, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say I probably would agree with the 60-40, to be quite honest. I mean, because not only are you taking away time and opportunities with the ball, you're also taking away momentum. And that's the killer. I mean, at the end of the day, like a guy like Josh Allen can go down the field in 20 seconds if you know what I mean, if the opportunity presented itself. Like, I mean, these guys are extremely talented, but at the end of the day, when you take the momentum away like that, you take the breath out of the fans and your rally guy on the sideline. I mean, it's tough to get that stuff back. I mean,
That's true.
especially in football.
So I've got like a two-part question, and I want to let Ben. I want to have you get it first, and then Buck.
All right.
AFC moving forward is going to be nasty. I mean, we've got Mahomes still. We've got Josh Allen. We've got Lamar. We've got Joe Burrow. We've got the emergence of Bo Nix, C.J. Stroud. We've got Justin Herbert. Those are all teams on the up and up. The Steelers, if they ever get their shit together, they're kind of always in the conversation, but not a real threat. The AFC is going to be disgusting moving forward. There's so much talent, so much young talent out there too. So I want to kind of hear what you guys think about that. But then also, with all of that being said, where do the Bills go from here? Like, it keeps not working. What's next?
All right. I completely agree with you about the AFC being on the up and up with all these young quarterbacks, all the young running backs, just these celebrity players that are just joining these teams and trampling other teams. So honestly, I don't really have much to say there unless you want to go into every team, but we could just do a whole episode on that. Where the Bills go next is honestly, it's just learning from their mistakes and moving forward. Everyone this year was saying the Bills were going to be a shit team because they lost Diggs. They don't have a star player. They don't have these celebrity wide receivers. But I mean, they just spread the ball out and they played like a team. And they also got some younger players too. Cook was a recent addition within the last few years, and Keon Coleman, I feel had a lot of hype coming in, but he's a rookie, so he's still learning. Definitely not Justin Jefferson level star, but there's always room for improvement. So I'm not too worried of where the Bills end up. They always make it to the play since Josh Allen's been on the team with Sean McDermott. They've always made it to the playoffs the last 5, 6, 7 years in a row. But yeah.
Is there anything that you'd want to see them add to try to get over the hump, other than the refs?
I think I would be really nice to get an A-tier wide receiver, another player. But I mean, Shakir's pretty good. They have Cooper's come in for some clutch plays. I wish to kind of use Cooper a little bit more.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. Is do you think that he's on the back nine? He was a number one receiver for a while, and he came to the Bills, and that made almost no impact.
Yeah, I feel he kind of joined the Bills mid-season when he wasn't playing too crazy before. So I think it's just kind of learning and growing with the team. He didn't do a training camp with the Bills. He didn't get those reps in. So I mean, the whole backfield, I guess, the whole wide receiver room, they just shuffle around. Keon Coleman doesn't even play all the snaps. The snap percentage is so spread out. It's your consistent players are Cook and Shakir to run slots, and then even with the tight ends, they go between Knox and Kincaid half the time. So I think just kind of figuring out what works, what doesn't, continue to spread the ball out. And then I wish the defense kind of could step up a little bit more. I wasn't too impressed with the defense.
Do you think that you'd want to see them, I know you kind of mentioned it, but would you rather see them lose Amari Cooper and get another receiver? Or would you want to keep Amari Cooper and hope that you don't acquire another Stephon Diggs situation?
I feel I kind of agree with your comment where I think Cooper's on his last hurrah. He's not getting any younger.
Yeah.
He has potential to grow, but not as much as a young star like Lad McConkey or Brock Bowers. These guys are just fresh into the league and they're putting up crazy numbers already just because of the chemistry and the consistency they have with their quarterbacks.
Josh did have his best year with turnovers and stuff like that when he wasn't having to feed a star receiver.
That is true.
Are you concerned at all about if you were to get a T. Higgins in free agency or something like that, you would feel that pressure again?
I feel it's personality, honestly. I feel if the next star player, T. Higgins, joins the team and he's understands how Buffalo's operating, then I don't think it'll be as much of a problem. But because it used to be that way with Diggs when Diggs first joined, he was kind of the consistent receiver and he wasn't demanding the ball. And then the last 2 seasons, it was just drama queen stuff, and it was honestly pretty embarrassing to watch.
That's fair. Buck, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think defense. I think you hit the note to start with the question number 2, where the Bills go. I think their defense was underwhelming for a playoff team. I mean, they stuck around, but it wasn't anything to write home about, So I think draft picks are going to be really important for them, building a defense, long term, if they really want to make a good run. But I mean, in the short term for literally next season, I mean, I think they need to get, I don't think that James Cook is a bad running back. I think they need to keep him, make him happy, use him. But I think they need to get another guy. And that kind of ties into the first question. I think the AFC is a big monster. I think they've got so many different talents coming out from different teams in the quarterback position, obviously. But I think that shifts the AFC to running. Like, I really think that you're going to see a lot more teams, in the first half of the season try to have these shootouts and realize that their quarterbacks can't last. You can't last with, the Patrick Mahomes type of team where when push comes to shove, they do make that play because they also run the ball and they do run smart plays. They call smart plays. I mean, at the end of the day, like, I think you're going to see a lot more turning to the running game. With respect to, like, CJ Stroud and some of the younger quarterbacks, I think, like, the, option type of offense is super popular now. I think a lot of quarterbacks are going to try to get into this, that type of offense, and you're going to see a lot of, whether that coach can actually coach that young quarterback to that scheme, or is it just going to be kind of like, the Bears with Justin Fields, where he's just running around for for his life, you know what I mean? So I think we're going to see a lot more running. I think you're going to see a lot more scheme change. I don't know if that's in the short term, this next upcoming season, or if that's going to be, down the line 2-3 years. But I mean, I think they're all dominant, and I think that's going to just prove that you're going to have to lean on some of the other schemes that are going around, and I think running is the perfect way to do that. Meaning, and I also think the Bills could have ran the ball a hell of a lot better in the game against the Chiefs, and they ran the ball pretty well almost all season, and it seemed like the playoffs, they were just like, nah, we don't want to run the ball anymore.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was, but there is if I remember correctly, a pretty glaring stat of, like, either second half or fourth quarter, like, James Cook, opportunities.
Not a
like, yeah, took a huge downturn.
Yeah.
The only thing that I will add to what you guys said about the AFC is the fact that I think that next year the Broncos are going to ruin somebody's day. I think that they're knocking somebody I think they're knocking someone out the playoffs next year.
I agree. I think Sean Payton's a great coach.
Bo Nix looks like him.
Yeah, I agree completely. Last note on the Bills-Chiefs game, specifically, Ben, curious on what you think about this. So Josh Allen went 23 for 34 and went for 2 touchdowns and went 237 yards. Okay?
Yep.
Patrick Mahomes went 18 for 26, 245 yards, 1 touchdown. What do you think about the pass incompletion ratio there? So Josh, it's very close, but Josh Allen has 67%, Pat has 69%, but on less attempts.
Right. I feel like it comes back to options and opportunities. I feel like the Chiefs defense did a good job at kind of covering most of the Bills, like, wide receivers and, like, pass options, which kind of forced a lot of silly plays from the Bills. And then the Chiefs obviously have the 2% increase because the Bills defense was really hanging back on their wide receivers. And so just kind of giving them the options and that breathing room for them to catch the ball. I wouldn't necessarily, because whenever I see those stats about, like, complete passes, some of them are just like the quarterback just dumping the ball because they just, like, are being pressured too much. But some of it's also just like, okay, you're making these great throws, but it's like your wide receivers aren't open. So it's interesting how that plays out. And then I always find it interesting, like, their yearly stats or the career stats of Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen are always, like, neck and neck every year. And I feel like up until this year, I remember, like, the last, like, 3 or 4 years, everyone's Mahomes this, Mahomes this, Mahomes this, and then it's like, whoa, wait a second, like, Josh Allen actually surpassed him in this category, or, oh, this is like Josh Allen's only 5 yards behind, so why don't we have the same conversation?
No, I absolutely agree completely, except when you talk about the playoffs. And it's crazy to think about it. Like, Josh Allen has not turned the fucking ball over. I mean, he was notorious for it.
Yeah.
He has taken care of the ball, and he's been a little bit more efficient over this past year, stat-wise. And I just thought it was kind of crazy that, I know it's real close, but he had less yards on more attempts.
Right. And
I'm not saying that's solely on him. I agree completely that, you have opportunities was it a drop pass or was it a bad throw? You know what I mean? Is he dumping it off? Those kind of things all come into play. I thought it said more about the play calling for the entire game. They weren't running the ball.
Right.
And the Chiefs were running the ball, and when they did throw the ball, they made that completion. And I think that's, like, the big storyline about what Spencer was saying. Spence, they're going to make the play. They're going to make the play because they're so efficient the whole rest of the game. And when they need to pull that one play out, they do, because they didn't need to use it in quarter two like sometimes these other teams do.
I have two things to say about that. The one to what you just said about like always making the play. The culture I feel like in Kansas City is the fact that even if you're a new player there, like you've got like the team morale knows like we've been here, we get it done. We've been here, we get it done. I mean the stat is like, it's crazy. Like Mahomes has started for 7 years. He has never not made the NFC or the AFC Championship. He's either lost the AFC Championship or he's gone to the Super Bowl. Every single year. He's never lost before that, which is insane. But I think that there's for like the Ravens, the Bills, you know what I mean? Like, we go out there and we try. I think there's a small thing and that'll be in their heads until they get over the hump of like, oh shit, here we go again. You know what I mean? Yep. It's the opposite for the Chiefs. The Chiefs are like, oh shit, here we go again. Like, we're about to get it done on you. Go do whatever you got to do because we're still here. The other thing about like the incompletions that you were talking about, I think that you just kind of gave a great breakdown or a good statistical support for why Spagnuolo is probably always going to be the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs. I know there's been some like theories on the fact that like Andy Reid's like, hey, as long as I'm here, he's going to be here type thing. Because it's like he knows that he can just handle the defense. Like he's always dialing up, the word I was looking for earlier, exotic blitzes. Like he's bringing things that you haven't seen before. He's cooking it up. Like he's sending pressure. He's distracting. He's faking like he's not going to blitz. He is going to blitz. He's bringing those blitz that you haven't seen before. So even if you're watching tape, kind of like Ben Johnson was with the offense, like, you know, you can watch as much tape as you want. It's not going to prepare you for this play that you've never seen before. That here we are at the one point in the game that we need it. And I think that leads to that because Josh wasn't making bad throws. He just had to get the ball off sometimes. Like sometimes you're just getting chased and I'm not going to throw an interception, so I'm going to just get rid of this.
Yeah. That's a good point.
And I think he did a good job too. I think the incompletions also show that I don't have the sack stats, but I think that he did a good job of getting rid of the ball and not giving up sacks, which I know is something we're like. In contrast, I know we're going to talk about like the NFC Championship game, but like a younger, less experienced like Jane Daniels, some of those times like he was holding onto the ball too long, trying to make something happen, giving up a sack. Where like Josh is like, all right, I'm gone.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Either of you guys have anything else to add for the AFC Championship?
That's about all I had.
Oh, one more thing. I don't want to have a whole conversation about it because I know every sports show in the world has talked about this, but who do you guys think is going to win the MVP? You think it's going to be Josh or you think it's going to be Lamar?
I feel like I was going Josh all year up until that like last playoff game. It was like,
but the playoffs
MVP material.
The playoffs don't
True.
Factor into it. The votes have been in since before they played each other.
Oh, okay. I mean, my votes are still Josh, honestly.
Josh?
Yeah, I'm still Lamar.
You said Lamar?
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of both of them. I'm going Josh, and I don't understand the big hype for Lamar. I think Lamar has his best team he's ever had before. Josh has definitely overachieved. Like Ben said, like they were projected to not do as well. Like they lost Diggs. Like they've got all these like young players. Like what can they do? And I think that they had a sensational season. I would say that Josh is doing more with less. I would give it to Josh.
That's fair. I just think Lamar has had, an outrageous stat line the whole year. And I just don't think you can deny the stat line. But that's a good argument for Josh. I mean, he did outperform with less.
Lamar did destroy the Bills head-to-head, but Lamar also lost to teams like the Browns. So, I don't know. I guess that's kind of where I'm at with the whole thing.
Yeah.
NFC Championship game. Any thoughts? Initial thoughts?
There's Eagles, man.
Yeah. Saquon.
Yeah, Saquon. That's what happened. Saquon happened.
Yeah, Saquon happened.
No, that was a hard game. Honestly, I only watched part of it and I turned it off.
I think that Saquon, Derrick Henry, and others have definitely made a push. I think Buck had mentioned it previously about running the ball more when we're talking about the AFC, but just the fact that the last 2-3 seasons, the whole storylines have been about like, like running backs aren't important. Like, don't pay a running back, don't pay a running back. You saw it with like Eckler, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon, and now I mean the Ravens were crazy with Derrick Henry, and the Eagles with Saquon. Oh my god, dude! Like and I think that would be a cool storyline if the Eagles do win the Super Bowl. Is the fact that like literally you've got that like clip from Hard Knocks of them like making a joke out of almost the fact that they weren't going to pay Saquon and like letting them walk, and then now he joins the team and literally runs them to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think that one of the funniest things that I saw for that game was Luvu trying to be Superman and flying, literally flying. Did you see that, Ben, or no?
I did not see it live, but I've been watching. I never skip it every time it comes on my like Instagram reel or TikTok or something. It is hilarious.
They had 3 offsides in a row, where I think it was Luvu both times tried to literally jump over both lines and stop the tush push, and then someone else jumped offsides the third time, which then brought up something that I literally did not know was possible. I know, Buck, we kind of talked about this before, but the refs, if they feel like something is unfair, can award a score. And so I had never heard of that before. I know that someone was kind of breaking it down on Twitter over the fact of like, if someone was like, let's say like a running back was like, or a player in general was like running toward the end zone, no one's in the way, and like someone from like outside the field of play like tripped him, the refs could be like, all right, so that should have been a touchdown, like we're gonna award that as a touchdown. And then they're saying that they could have applied this to this because you had 3 offsides in a row, and they were saying like it was an unfair thing for that. I know a lot of people that brought up a lot of discourse over the fact that like, I know so many people want the tush push to get like them to exile the tush push, but it's crazy that people are saying like, I mean, what do you want them to do? Like, they're not going to just give a touchdown up, so we're trying to get any edge we can. You're literally on like the half-yard line, like, you know what I mean? Like, we're trying to stop you, so, sorry if we go off sides, we're trying to make some effort. So that's interesting. I don't know if you should. I see the argument to where like it's half the distance to the goal each time, so like at some point the amount you're moving the ball is negligible. Like you can't move it any further. But at the same time, just giving up a touchdown because you're trying to play defense. What do you guys think about that?
I feel like I'm like pulled a little bit both ways a little bit because I think he had the right idea. Like, you have nothing to lose. You're like at the 1-yard line, so you're gonna do everything you can to not let the ball cross the line. And so sometimes you're gonna pull out those tricks. But I was also like you. I was very surprised they could just like award points. So I'm honestly not even sure. So do they award like a full touchdown, or is it like a touchback? How many points are awarded?
They would have given him a touchdown.
That's huge. Like, is there like the possibility of like adding like penalties to the next play, like when you're holding the ball, like after kickoff, like starting farther back? Like, I don't know. I feel like there's different options before awarding points automatically.
That's a good point. You bring up an interesting third option to where like, yeah, we could just add these penalty yards to either your next possession or like or to them, like to either team. That's it.
So what if it's the last play of the game?
That's a good question. Yeah, because you can
like 10 seconds left on the clock. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there is no next play.
Yeah. That's a good point too, because I mean, like exactly, like if we're playing, our season comes down to us stopping this tush push. Like, yeah, I might jump off sides 100 times. I'm not just giving you this touchdown. But at the same time, if you award the touchdown, that's a tough one. That's a very interesting. I guess that's why they've got the committees.
Is it they award the touchdown and then they can resume the play and then they get another touchdown? So is that 14? Oh, okay. So they just call and they just turn the ball over with a free touchdown. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's actually insane. But
I think any time a ref or giving someone points is going to be a controversial thing.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that was a rule either, and I was immediately like, no, this can't be real. So I did a deep dive and tried to figure out where in this is this a thing? Where would this be enacted? You know what I mean? So besides what we just saw, where would this? And it is true. So like if a guy's running down the field and somebody from the like bench comes and tackles him, like that's that would count. So I guess the actual like rule, if you will, is kind of interesting to me, like the way it's worded. I guess so. I did find out the NCAA has a similar rule, although very more. It's laid out a little bit easier to read. It's very like very laid out, whereas this one kind of leaves a little bit of room for discussion, if you will, if you're a referee. So it states it's called the palpably unfair act. And it states a player or substitute shall not interfere with a play by any act which is palpably unfair. The penalty for the palpably unfair act is offender may be disqualified. The referee, after consulting officiating crew, enforces any such distance penalty as they consider equitable and irrespective of any other specified code penalty. The referee may award a score. So basically, there are different steps that can be taken. And I think in this scenario, because it was so close to the goal line already, half the distance. And so, like, you have the argument of, like, okay, so what are we supposed to do? Just give them the touchdown? Like, you could argue, I mean, in great fashion, that Louvre was trying to just time it up.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You could argue that. So, yeah, he's got bad timing twice. You're now going to give them a score?
Well, it was him twice and then the third.
Right, exactly. So, and I think it was after the third time from a different player that they said, this is your warning.
Well, the counter argument... Go ahead.
You have to give the warning. So a referee just can't be like, okay, we're awarding a score. They have to give the warning beforehand.
Right, so it would have then been 4 plays in a row that they did it, which would have awarded the score. I mean, because I think that, like you said, there was 3 different options. There's no distance to give, which is the whole issue. They're saying that it's an unfair act because you're doing a penalty that we can't punish you for because we can't move the ball any closer. So the second thing that you said was, like, moving the ball closer. They can't do that. I'm sure in a playoff game, the Commanders would rather give up this touchdown that's already on the 1-yard line than lose Louvu for the rest of the game. So that's 2 options. Option 3 is giving up a touchdown. So
yeah,
it's an interesting one. I do think that you saw, separate from that, just about the game itself, like Jaden Daniels, he is going to be hell to deal with for the next, his whole career. I know we have seen a crazy quarterback play before out of the Commanders, like RG3. Jaden Daniels definitely seems a lot more real. I feel like this is not like a flash in the pan. Like he's gonna be hell to look out for. Bless you. Bless you. He seems he's gonna be something to deal with. He looked so poised in all his playoff games, like. And I think that he's giving the Commanders that feeling like we talked about with like the Chiefs of knowing like 15's got us, like, you know what I mean, like we're gonna win this game. I think that like they went on the road, they beat Tampa. It was like, oh, okay, we got a playoff win. Then they went and beat up the Lions, who looked like juggernauts all season. That was painful. That was a painful game. But, I mean, he looked great. I think that you're building that confidence in the organization. Like, hey, we got some. And we've got less talent than a lot of other teams. When they get some more players, I think they're going to be nasty. He looked poised even against the Eagles. His team kind of let him down. They had so many fumbles. Players were fumbling the ball, kick return fumbles, and just giving the Eagles many chances. And that was kind of like the deal with a lot of the playoff teams is like if you give the ball up, you're going to probably go home. The Ravens had some fumbles. They went home. The Lions had some interceptions. I don't know if they had a fumble, but they had some interceptions. They went home. I think what was it? There was another AFC team in wildcard weekend that went home because of that too. So yeah, if you're putting the ball on the ground, especially, or in the other players' hands, other teams' hands, in the playoffs, like you're paying for that. So
yeah, absolutely.
It was just crazy to see that like the rookie looked so good, but his teammates, the veterans, were the ones who were not playing as well. Although something like I think we mentioned earlier that I want to see him do better at is like realizing when the journey is over and just throwing the ball away. You can't take sacks. You can't start 2nd and 15, 2nd and 20, and still think that you're going to do something with that drive.
Yeah. But that comes in maturing, you know what I mean? That's coaching. That'll come in year 2, 3, 4, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
He'll just keep getting better at it. I'm curious to see what the organization does for him now. He went out there and balled out. They better do him well and get him the pieces that he needs to thrive in that situation, because I think he shocked a lot of people. I think he went out there and didn't. He wasn't phased. You're right. He was poised almost the whole season. And I think more than you would expect out of a rookie. And I just hope that organization does him well and puts the pieces in place for him, because that's the only way he's going to thrive. I thought Justin Fields' rookie season, even though the stat lines don't say what I believe, I thought he had a great rookie season. He was running for his life like 90% of the time. I think when you take that in consideration, he had a pretty good season, and they did not really do a lot to put the people around him in good places. They didn't give him an O-line. They didn't give him a great coaching staff. And I hope that this is not, I hope the Commanders give him it all seems like they are absolutely doing that. They're taking steps to do that. So I just hope that continues, because if it does, watch out. It's going to be the Commanders now. They're really rocking.
He had, I think, what I would question someone to or challenge someone to show me a better one. I think he had the best rookie campaign I've ever seen or have heard of before. Going to the NFC Championship your first year, and he was a true rookie too. Like we talked about, like Mahomes has always made it, like when he's been a starter to like the NFC Championship. He had a year to sit behind someone. Other players have had years to sit behind other people. He got thrown right in and was the Hail Mary against the Bears. I don't know if it was a Hail Mary, but the very close win they had against, I think it was the Cowboys. Like, they had some crazy, crazy good games with him that showed, like, we talked about poise. I think that's the big word for him for this season. Buck, how do you feel as being a Bears fan? Do you think that it was a mistake taking Caleb Williams? Would you rather have Jaden Daniels, or you think that he just was in a better situation with better coaches?
Hindsight's always 20/20, but I think he absolutely was in a better situation with better coaches. I think he was in a better organization as a whole. I think the Bears have been in this, carousel of tragic endings, you know what I mean, and tragic beginnings for the last, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years. It's not been great. And they keep doing the same things over and over again, and it's not great. And, I go back to, kind of starting when they fired Lovie Smith. They were a 500 team. They were over 500, I think, that year. And they fired Lovie Smith, and then we get this coaching carousel. And so I think Jaden Daniels was in a much better position. I think he probably would have had a decent season, if the Bears picked him. But I don't think – I think he would have saw the poise. I think he would have saw all these things. I just don't think they would have been in the playoffs by any stretch of the means, and he wouldn't have had as many wins, and he probably wouldn't be in Rookie of the Year conversation.
That's fair.
But I also don't think that. I guess time will tell with this Ben Johnson pick, but
I will get into that.
My jury's still out on Caleb Williams completely.
That's fair.
And not him as a player. I think he's a great player. I just think him and Bears picking him number one and all that.
Who do you guys think? I want to hear from both of you guys. Who do you think Rookie of the Year? Jaden Daniels or Bo Nix?
Oh, Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I think I'd also go Jaden Daniels. I think the argument with Bo Nix is that because he was like the backup quarterback originally until someone got injured, I think, right?
I think he started the whole time, right?
Oh, I thought someone else was starting over him, and then he came in and kind of turned the. I might be very wrong, honestly.
I'm not sure. He didn't start.
Check that.
He didn't start off as hot.
He was like
he came on, yeah.
Yeah, kind of a nobody, and then just kind of popped off with Sutton and a few other guys. But I think Jaden Daniel had obviously he made it a lot farther, and I think his stats speak for it too. That boy can sling the ball, so
he kind of came on like mid-season, and Jaden Daniels kind of had like a dip at one point. So like then the conversation kind of got close of like, because at first it was Jaden Daniels running away with it, and then it was like Daniels had like slowed down for a few weeks, and Bo Nix had like picked it up. So I think that's when they kind of got closer. But yeah, I agree. I definitely definitely Jane Daniels for me as well.
Yeah.
Anything else
Bo
about
Nix started all games.
he did?
Yeah, I thought you were right too. I could have swore there was somebody else, and I'm like, who is gonna bother me? But it looks, yeah, he played all games.
You guys might be thinking of like Michael Penix Jr. because he didn't start. He came in after for Kirk Cousins.
That's true. Could be.
I was thinking of. I think I might have been thinking about like Drake May, 'cause the Patriots went through a few quarterbacks too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He also kind of looks like Bo Nix's cousin. I feel like.
That's fair. Anything else from you guys about the NFC Championship before we move on to the next? One of the most interesting coaching situations that I have seen in a while. The Buccaneers and the Jags situation. I don't know if you guys saw about that. Basically, I can't think of his name. He was the offensive coordinator for the Bucs. He's now the new head coach of
Liam Cohen.
Thank you, Liam Cohen. Yep. He had interviewed to be the head coach of I think a few places, including the Jags, and then the Bucs wanted to keep him, so they offered to make him the most. If my facts are correct, they offered to make him the highest paid offensive coordinator in the league, and it was contingent on him not interviewing with anyone else. And so then, once again, if my facts are correct, because I'm not trying to slander this man, it looks like, from what I understand, he faked having a sick kid at home and said he had to go take care of his kid, and then flew to Jacksonville and interviewed for their head coaching job. And then accepted the job, and then had to call the Bucs and tell them that he accepted the job. That is the sneakiest shit I've ever seen before.
Gotta chase that bag, man.
Exactly. You gotta chase that bag. I mean,
I would be like not feel great about starting my tenure as an organization that needs to turn some shit around by hiring somebody that's operating greasy like that.
Yeah, but at the same time, it operated in their favor. So who's to? I mean, you know what I mean.
Hold on a second. That's like you getting someone. That's like you getting your girlfriend by her cheating on her boyfriend with you, and then she winds up leaving him and dating you. Like, can I trust 100%. You? Can I trust you?
Right. So I think the crazier part to me is, so the sick kid part is crazy, right?
Yes.
But he didn't sign the deal with the Bucs, but he expressed intent to sign it, basically verbally committed. Right. Then basically was like unavailable, was not being like, nobody could get a hold of him, and then finally it was, he said, I got a sick kid I'm taking care of, and blah blah blah, and lo and behold, he's in Jacksonville interviewing for the job. And I think Jacksonville reached back out because they got rid of their GM, if I'm correct.
Yes, there were several teams that wouldn't, or several offensive coordinators interviewing for jobs that wouldn't take the job unless they got rid of the GM.
Yeah, and I think he was one of them.
Yes.
Say what you will, I agree with you, Spencer. I mean, I wouldn't feel great about it if I was the head of the organization. But hey, I mean, NFL teams have done much worse and have paid out money to get people. I mean, it's just kind of, it's business, right? I mean, the guy wants more money. I mean, obviously a head coach, a coveted head coach position. Trevor Lawrence is no slouch. You know what I mean? They've got some good players. They've got a decent situation. I mean, how can you not take the chance?
I would just say a few things about that first. Yeah, they had, like you said, they had come to an agreement, basically like a gentleman's agreement, and they were like, all that's left is you to come sign the paper. And right, you faked your kid being sick so that you weren't available to sign the paper. That's like a kid in high school being like, "Oh, sorry, my grandma died for the 5th time this semester." Like,
yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
I can't submit my paper. That's nuts. The other thing, did you guys see the video of Liam Cohen at his press conference saying Duvall?
No.
He literally looks. I need you guys to find a video and watch this. He looks like if Stuart Little became a human being.
Oh Lord!
he looks like if Stuart Little became a human being.
Oh Lord.
You'll have to find that video and watch it.
Oh God. Okay.
Ben, you have any thoughts on this?
I'm just in shock. He pulled off to calling the school sick and go play hooky. Like literally did the
Ferris
oldest
Bueller's
trick
Day
in the,
Off.
He put the Find My iPhone tracker on his iPad and went off with his other girl.
Yeah.
He said, "No one's catching my location." And the crazy part is that it's in the same state.
Yes.
Like, imagine if Sean McDormand went to go coach the Jets or the Jets. Like,
Yeah.
Buffalo would light on fire. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, that would be
That's
That's
nuts.
pretty rough for the Bucks.
I think
You know who
it's
that's-
hilarious.
You know who that's even sucks worse for? I mean, isn't this his 8th offensive? This could be his 8th or 9th offensive coordinator, Baker Mayfield.
That boy can win anywhere.
I mean, shout out to him too, because not only can he win anywhere, but literally has had like 8 or 9 different OCs. Like, that's insane.
Baker Mayfield, he's like the B level GOAT. That man went from Carolina to the Rams, got off a plane, and won a fucking game the same day or the next day. That motherfucker had like 24 hours to learn the playbook and went and beat, I think it was the Seahawks or something. That man is the GOAT of B-list, of like B-level players.
I feel like he's the type to coach. Like, say, coach, this is how you coach me. And then, like, the OC got to kind of listen to Baker Mayfield because he's Baker Mayfield and he's going to pull it off.
I feel like he just goes out there and does him.
Like, I love Baker Mayfield.
I have so much respect for him.
Oh, absolutely.
Anywhere he goes, he's going to be a threat, except for Carolina because they fucking suck.
Yeah.
That's
not a great organization.
That's kind of a huge indictment on them too. Think about it. 2 of the best quarterbacks this season were Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. The Panthers had both of them and did nothing.
Exactly. And how do you square that with the fact that they have Bryce Young on there?
Hey, he looked pretty good toward the end of the season, though. I will say that they sat him down for a little bit and had him watch old Andy Dalton, and he came back. He looked pretty good. They were going toe to toe with good teams like the Chiefs.
They just need to trade Bryce Young now so he can pop off.
Right somewhere else. That is one of, like I said, like the most intriguing and interesting like coaching situations I've seen. I think the only thing that I could relate to it was, didn't Josh McDaniels hit someone with a fastball like that a few seasons back? He was going to be the coach of some team, and then had an agreement, and then like reneged and went to go be the coach of someone else. I can't think of which teams that was, but I think that he's the only other person I've seen do something like that. And I remember people were pissed at him. They thought that was very dirty.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll to the Raiders. That is one of the most surprising things I've heard in a long time. And I guess my biggest question is, like, if you were going to go somewhere with decent talent and no quarterback, why leave Seattle and go to the AFC, where you're in the same division as Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert? Like, I know that the 49ers were in your way, but
spite of Harbaugh.
That's all I can think of is just to fuck Harbaugh some more.
Yeah, I don't know. And to go a little bit further, does the Steelers not re-sign Russ, and does Las Vegas sign Russ?
That'd be crazy.
That'd be interesting.
I don't know if I think that there's some beef between them. I think.
Yeah.
Some bad.
There
blood,
was some. Yeah, there was some bad blood towards the end there, and I thought that's kind of why the Seahawks and Pete Carroll were kind of like at odds too. Like, how couldn't get it done with Russ, and then that kind of relationship blew up. I don't know if they were all connected or not, but
you're
right. Why did Seattle to go to arguably a worse team in a better division?
Yeah, I don't get that one at all, and I also think that it was unfair of them to fire Antonio Pierce when he didn't have a quarterback. Like, you can't see what any coach does if you don't have a quarterback. You're out there with fucking Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, and you get rid of the coach. Like, I think they played hard for him. I don't feel like they quit other than Devonta Adams, who understandably was like, I'm not trying to waste the few years I have left by literally no one being able to. I mean, they had fucking Jimmy Garoppolo out there trying to throw to Devonta Adams. That was he was through some tough times. I get why he wanted to go back to Aaron Rodgers, but I don't know what Antonio Pierce did to deserve losing his job.
I don't get that one either.
I don't know. I think that like I said, I don't understand why Pete Carroll would want to go there. That seems like he's only going to hurt his legacy. You know, you're not making any playoff runs. We just talked about how stacked the AFC was, and you just went to a team without a quarterback.
Yeah, legit. Like, where do you go from there?
Do you know what pick they have? I can look it up. Yeah. I can look it up. Ben, did you have anything on this?
No. Except the fact that I read something about Tom Brady was supposed to have some little say in what the coach was doing with the Raiders, and I thought that was interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Dog, the Raiders have the number 6 pick. They're not getting Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders.
No.
I don't understand why Pete Carroll would want to go there. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah. I mean, unless Tom Brady's going to come out of retirement and play for him.
Wait, what pick do the Pats have? Because I knew they fucked that up somehow.
I think they've got 3. I can check. Hold on. Patriots. Patriots have the...
Is it 5th?
Hold on. I know the Titans have 1. This is giving me all the answers to everybody else. 1, 2... Patriots have 4. So the Titans have the number 1 pick. The Browns have the number 2 pick. The Giants have the 3. The Patriots have the 4. Jacksonville has 5. And Raiders have 6. So, yeah. I don't know about that one. So while we're on the picks, who would you guys think? There's like some debate about the Titans, who they should take with the number 1 pick. Should they take a generational talent like a Travis Hunter, or do you take a quarterback?
I don't know about that one. I think you have to take the quarterback.
I think that you can get all the good players you want. You're not winning without a quarterback.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think you have to take the quarterback. I mean, unless for whatever reason in this stratosphere they can get a quarterback elsewhere, it's not going to mean much.
But I mean, who would you get?
Exactly. I mean, well, and there's Sam Darnold, I think hasn't signed yet. So there's not great options, albeit, but there's options. But I think number 1 pick, you got to take a quarterback.
I would not want. I think Sam Darnold did a lot to hurt his legacy with this playoff run. Losing to the Lions and then losing to the Rams. It was like, all right, like he's great in the regular season, and then here come playoffs, and it's like, I don't know if you're a team that really wants to build for the future if Sam Darnold is going to take you where you want to go. He could be a good stopgap, but I'm not sure if he's... Like, Sam Darnold might be the best of, like, the Gardner Minshew tier quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if he's, like, who you tie to moving forward. I think the Vikings should keep Sam Darnold and let J.J. McCarthy recover from his ACL.
I think that's the perfect situation for everybody involved.
Yeah. I think that although the top 3 teams all need quarterbacks, the Titans need a quarterback, the Browns need a quarterback. Did you guys see that Deshaun re-ruptured his Achilles?
Oh, re-ruptured?
It's the Lord's work.
Yeah. I will say that if you do believe in a higher power and you believe that Deshaun Watson is guilty, it sure seems like God is not letting that man know a moment of peace. Like at all. Like, he was terrible, and then he was hurt. Like, oh, they're not going to get rid of you for being terrible? What if you just never play football again?
Legit.
Legit. But yeah, so I think the Browns need a quarterback, and then the Giants definitely need a quarterback.
Yeah.
The one thing that I'd be curious to see is I wonder, just like not even like a hot take, but just like a dark horse idea. What if Joe Milton gets traded from the Patriots to a team? That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe to like the Browns or like the Titans or something. Although I feel like the Titans have just been dealing with just mediocre mess. They had Will Levis and Mason Rudolph. Like, you probably want to get like a good quarterback at this point.
Yeah.
But so many teams need a good quarterback, and there's a lot that don't have them. We're getting to the point though where like you're getting down to like probably like a third of the leagues don't have quarterbacks. Like, there's a lot of teams are loading up. Everybody's kind of got their guy.
Right.
Well, and I mean, arguably the Jets don't have a quarterback. I mean, what are they going to do next season?
They just recently came out and said that they would welcome back. I think Woody Johnson said that he would welcome back Aaron Rodgers, but it's up to their new GM.
There's no way.
I mean, even if he does come back, realistically, and you know my feelings on Aaron Rodgers, but
yeah,
legitimately, in reality, how do you say to the players around on that team, how do you say to Aaron Glenn, we want you to prosper, we want you to be, we want you to create a winning franchise, a winning team, and you throw a 41-year-old out there as quarterback? Like, what does that say to the rest of the team?
Hold on. Let me give you a few things about that, because I got some thoughts for that. I've been a big Aaron Rodgers fan for basically my whole life. And I will say this. I was just as critical of him as everyone else last season, both for on the court and off the court. Or on the field and off the field. He did a lot of real dumb shit. But, damn. Ben, what the fuck did you just text me? Hold on. What? I tried to play this off. What is this? It's a picture of Baker Mayfield, Justin Bieber, and who the fuck is this guy?
Demetrius Johnson.
Are you trying to say that Baker looks like these guys combined?
No, bro, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the three of our profile pictures, or just talking heads.
Oh my god!
I'm like, Buck looks like Justin Bieber with long hair. You look like a wide Demetrius Johnson. And if I sit back just like this, I can maybe pass for Baker Mayfield with longer hair. It just occurred to me.
Oh my god!
My ADHD brain.
This is me, chat. This is me. This is Buck.
I was looking for the specific hat with Justin Bieber with the beanie because I feel like it's really fitting.
I'm fucking dead. Oh my god.
So I hope you put that in the video, but actually put like
I'm going to
screenshots.
I'm gonna attach the pictures of those pictures over this.
You gotta find Justin Bieber with the beanie because Buck's really repping it right now.
I know anyway. I know exactly what picture you're thinking of too.
Oh my god.
So there's your thumbnail.
Thank you.
Honestly, and I was thinking Andrew Luck and not Baker.
Okay, so I've actually gotten Andrew Luck at a restaurant before.
That's
was weird.
Hilarious.
Yeah, that's so freaking funny.
Okay, so the Jets, right? I think Aaron Rodgers did a lot of sucking. I will say he was coming off of an Achilles rupture this season.
And ayahuasca.
Yes. But you saw some of the Kirk Cousins, I think, was coming off of the same thing. He didn't play super well. Like, you know what I mean? Like his mobility and stuff like that. Aaron Rodgers has always been able to boot out, and with being older, plus coming back from that, like year one, like I could see that being a struggle. Year two, he might be better with that. He did play better down the stretch. And most importantly, they don't have any other fucking options, dog. They've got Aaron Rodgers. They've got Devontae Adams. They've got a talented team. The only thing they can do is go out there and see if that shit looks better the next year. They've got... I just had it pulled up. Let me see what it says. The Jets have the number 7 pick. Every single team above them, other than the Patriots that we just talked about, needs a quarterback. They're not getting anybody else. Like, do you realistically think, like, if you had the choice between a... 3 or 4 time MVP, Super Bowl winner, with a good connection with your number 1 receiver, or Sam Darnold, who's already played for you before?
Well, right. No, I agree with you. It's a rock and a hard place for sure.
I just don't know what other options they have. At least for one more year, you've got to run it back.
Not a lot of options, but I don't think I think organizationally, I mean, okay, then why fire the head coach, Robert Saleh?
They wanted to try some new. Well, I think that was one of the biggest things, the biggest problems that they did. I think Woody Johnson got too impatient and started just clicking buttons and started deleting shit.
Yeah, exactly. So now it's okay, now you bring a new coach in, and I guess you bring a new coach in and you're right. Okay, run it back, see if he's better year 2 after the Achilles and kind of see where you're at. But then, okay, and I future talk, but they have another season like they did this year. Where do you go from there? You're just in the same boat.
Hope that maybe you can get a higher draft pick, or that the other teams maybe get their quarterbacks.
Hope you suck worse the next year to get a.
you gotta start sucking now to get the good quarterbacks.
Well, maybe
if they don't win the first game, if they don't go 16-0 or whatever.
If I'm not mistaken,
but they better lose every freaking game because they better get the best draft pick.
They'll probably blow it up. I think that Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers, I think they're both under contract just through this year. So you probably trade Devontae Adams, you probably cut Aaron Rodgers, you tank, and then then see what happens from there. That's what I would think that you would do.
Right. It says a lot to the other. I mean, to me, it says a lot to the other players. Why doesn't seem like an organization you'd want to gravitate towards. You know what I mean? But what else?
If you're, first of all, they're the fucking Jets. They weren't shit before they had Aaron Rodgers. They're still not shit. The second thing is that they fucking what was I gonna say? I think that their best chance is I think that the only thing that they can hope for as an organization at this point, the only glimmer of hope that they have at all for this upcoming year, is that Aaron Rodgers plays to 70% of what he was with the Packers.
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing that's walking through the doors to help them is Aaron Rodgers playing up to MVP level, or at least giving them something that looks like that.
Yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
That's me at least. More coaching stuff. And this got real hot take-ish, and there's several things that kind of spin off from this that we'll kind of get into all of. Do you think that we need a change in rules of, and I'll kind of lay out both sides of this before you guys kind of chime in. Do you think that we need a change in coordinators that are still in the playoffs being able to interview for jobs, like head coaching jobs, or to join someone else's staff? Now, here's the pros for this. Is that a lot of people, the Ben Johnson stuff was a huge topic. They were talking about that, he was so focused on getting the job with the Bears or the Raiders, he wound up going with the Bears, that he didn't spend his time preparing properly for the playoff game. That they didn't think. Now, I think that, I personally, as a Lions fan, I'm putting the loss on Jared Goff. I think he played like shit, which I don't think that Jared Goff is a shit player. The NFC Championship the year before, Jared Goff played great. I remember people dropping, Josh Reynolds dropping, I think, a third and a fourth down pass that would have kept them alive. So I don't think that Jared Goff is a shit player, but I think that Jared Goff is in large part the reason that they lost that game. But a lot of people, especially Detroit fans, are very pissed. They think that he didn't put in the proper time, and then went and joined a division rival immediately. Felt like a big slap in the face. Literally, they announced it, I think, 2 days after after the Lions got eliminated. And I think the day after, I think Ben Johnson had informed Danny Campbell he wasn't coming back. The opposing side of that would be either one, all other, you might lose jobs because of that. We might go ahead and get this guy here because we know that we need to get our guy now. We can't afford to wait for you, because if we don't get, let's say that the Bears wanted Ben Johnson. Well, what if we wait for Ben Johnson? Ben Johnson winds up going with the Raiders. So now we're screwed. So now what if we can't wait for Ben Johnson? We'd go and get somebody else. And now Ben Johnson lost that opportunity. The other option then would be the league basically saying that, you can't do, coach free agency until, the Super Bowl ends. In which case, I mean, teams right now are working throughout the whole offseason trying to get better. Like, through the entire offseason. Like, up until, like, we're already trying to work on, like, figuring out who they're going to draft. You've got, like, the players, like, you've got scouts right now working on stuff. You know, I forgot what it is. There's some kind of a event going on right now, because I just saw that, like, whatever competition they're at right now, like, Shiloh Sanders is taking, like, a dip in draft stock because he's getting cooked by whoever he's playing against. I can't remember what it's called. But basically, like, you would give teams that need the time a lot less time to prepare for the upcoming season. So really, there's not a great way to do it. Like, you're either putting everything on hold, or you're potentially costing jobs, or you've got distracted coordinators. What are you guys' thoughts? Don't everybody talk at once.
I don't know. It's such a sticky topic. It's like I say let him do it. I think it could fuck up a lot of things, but I think a lot of players can fuck up a whole lot of things. And to me, the coaches are almost just like the players. Like, they get traded, they switch teams, they move around, and I think part of the team is the coach, it's the OC, it's the defensive coordinator, it's your teammates. Like, so I feel like it's a shitty thing to say, like, oh yeah, like, this guy is just gonna leave during the playoffs and the whole team's gonna lose now. But that's also, it's like, he was picked to be on that team, so
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of with Ben. I mean, you can't. At the end of the day, it's a business, and at the end of the day, like, you're right, teams are working now to prepare for next season. The off season starts the minute, you know, your season is done, right? Especially for the front office. I think if the NFL does put rules together, you know, say you can't do it until whatever time or whatever, I just think we're gonna have more sneaky things like Liam Cohen. Like, I think we're just gonna come where people are going to do it regardless, and it's just going to be under wraps until somebody squeals. I think the other part of that too is like, I mean, when you're an OC, when you're a head coach, when you are, I mean, even just down to the linebackers coach, the assistant wide receiver coach, like, you have many responsibilities in the NFL. Like, you're not just, you know, working on this specific play or whatever, what have you, or this specific game. Like, there's a lot of things going on. Like, you know, draft picks and, you know, working on skill sets, working on the offensive schemes and defensive schemes and all these other things, right? I think if you can't juggle multiple things at once and still maintain focus and prioritize those things, I think you're not going to make it as a coach anyway. So, I mean, it's kind of one of those things where you kind of have to, it is what it is, you know what I mean?
That's a very good point. That's something that I've actually told, like, some of, like, the Lions fans, like, in my life, is that, like, that's no different from what we're asking, like, players to do. Is, like, you know, you could be going through basically anything off the field, and, you know, when you come and play, you know, like, the coach, or, like, the world doesn't care that Tom Brady's maybe the only person that got any grace for this one. His final season, he was going through a divorce half the season. But usually it's like, no one cares that you're going through a divorce or that, you know, someone in your family is sick. They see you drop the ball. Right?
Yeah.
So, like, all players are asked to compartmentalize, like, the coaches should be as well. I do think that it sucks that, like, I know, like, I think that a lot of the hate for the Lions fans, like, toward Ben Johnson right now, I think is really unfortunate. I don't think it's called for. I think that people are pissed that he joined, like, a division rival. I mean, we just talked about, like, Pete Carroll joining the Raiders. Like, that's a shit job. Like, I wouldn't want to go be a Raiders coach. They've got no fucking quarterback. They're in a hard division. Like, why would I not want to go work with, like who was Caleb Williams, who was touted as being, like, this amazing prospect? Why would I not want to take that job with a good, talented offense, a talented defense, in a division that I know? That's clearly the better job. Like you said, it's a business. It makes sense for him to want to do that. Like, yeah, I appreciate the time with the Lions, and I'm not going to go fucking commit coach suicide with the Raiders when this other job is right here. But I do think it also sucks that you're seeing plays that, like, I feel like a lot of the trick plays that Ben Johnson usually dialed up, they weren't there in the playoff game. I think that some of the ones that he did were stupid. Like, you've got, in a crucial situation, Jamison Williams throwing the ball, And yes, I understand that he should have been smart enough not to throw into double coverage, but at the same time, it's Jamison Williams. Like, everybody was like, all right, like, you know that's a player that's not going to have the wherewithal to throw the ball away. He's just going, fuck it. Like, you know what I mean? But Ben Johnson should have a better read on his players like that and know that maybe you call something else. Like, there was no hook and ladders, there was no this, there was no that. Like, some of the other things that you've done, some of the real important things that you've done before, you didn't call there. And then people also pointed out the fact that some of the more cool plays, trick plays, like the stumble, like the running back stumble, the quarterback stumble, throw to Laporta, guess who that was against? The Bears.
So, funnily enough, you bring up a really good point. So, Ben Johnson does an interview with Rick Eisen, I think his name is. And, it's a pretty long interview, and it's, most of the same old, the new coach of insert team here type of stuff, right? But, so Rick brings up a point of, hey, at any point during your interview process with Ryan and I can't think of the other guy's name, but did the Jared Goff fumble on purpose trick play ever come up? Because it was against the Bears. And he, Ben laughs, kind of like does this like little chuckle thing. And then he says something along the lines of like, we're going to call the plays that we want to call no matter the situation. Basically to the effect of like calling trick plays when you're up 2 scores and stuff like that too, kind of tying it all together. We're going to go with there's plays that we're going to want to get off the call sheet that we're going to get off the call sheet. I'm not looking at the score. I'm calling the play. And I'm like,
situational football is important.
It's hard to take that and be confident about it when you know about that Jamison Williams play. You know what I mean? Like, okay, yes, to a certain point, like you can have that confidence, that ego confidence of, no, this is my play, this is my call sheet, this is my scheme, we're going to go with it, this is the plan. We're going to call the plays when we feel confident, to call them, play clock, situation be damned, right? But then you call a play like that in that game, in that situation, and you're like, absolutely not. Could be the greatest play ever invented, still not the situation for it, not the time, right? And so, like, as a Bears fan, to put, like, those two things together, I'm like, oh, man. Yeah. Doesn't really necessarily make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside for this next season.
What's interesting is I've usually heard before that, like, coaches will usually go in and maybe, like, the first, like, 15 plays or the first 2 drives, those are scripted. And then after that, you're calling stuff up. And what's interesting about that, if that's not just coach speak, if that's true, is that it kind of goes back to, like, how the Lions lost the NFC Championship last year. Is like Dan Campbell is always like fourth down, we're going for it. And it's like, as a coach, you need to have situational awareness and know that, like, I know I planned on this, but based on where we're at now, maybe I kick the field goal. Maybe I don't run that Jamison Williams throw downfield. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I get that you have a plan, but you need to be adaptable and switch that up.
Agreed.
Here's the other thing. I've had to walk around Chicago and listen to this with my coworkers and everything like that. I understand that you said that you're a little bit weary because of that quote, but how does it feel as a Bears fan to have just stolen like a third of our staff?
Yeah, so I always think it's super weird, like in general, when like an OC or most of the time it's an offensive coordinator, but even a DC like goes to the new organization and brings like every like side character coach that they can think of. You know what I mean? I always think that's kind of weird. Like, I mean, I get it. You want the guys that you trust. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, if those are the guys that Ben Johnson as the head coach trusts, then I'm all for it. Whatever makes him feel all warm and fuzzy inside, right? I'll wait and see how that looks on the field before I declare whether that makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. But I think it's weird. I think it's one of those things where I'd probably, if I were in those shoes, I'd probably be looking a little bit more around the league. But I mean, you also can only get what you can get in the situation, right? Yeah. Some other teams are, I'm staying, my OC is, my guy. This is where I work. This is like my crew, right? So I do think it's kind of weird. I'm still like, jury's out on Caleb for me. Jury's out on next season. Jury's out on the coach. Jury's out on everything for me. I think they made the right choice in Ben Johnson for the situation that they have. I think they got the best possible coach out there. I just don't think that it's going to be as great as like some of the media is portraying it. Like, oh, the Bears got their guy and they've got Caleb Williams. It's going to be a takeoff. It's the greatest situation. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It's not a great situation. The organization has been pretty inept for decades here. So,
I mean, I think I disagree with you. I'm more, maybe just because I've watched so many games that Ben Johnson's called. I've been saying all season that we need to win the Super Bowl this year or we're losing Ben Johnson. To you, or we need to win the Super Bowl because we're going to lose Ben Johnson to you guys. I knew he was going to be a Bear. He's got, like I was saying earlier, you've got such a good young offense. I think that Ben Johnson calling plays for Caleb Williams. I think he's going to do some good things there. I think if you guys get some offensive linemen, it's going to be great. I think that you guys are going to really light up the league. And I think that getting Dennis Allen, who's had head coaching experience too, as a defensive coordinator, I think that'll help.
Super. I think I'm more excited about that than some of the other ones.
And I'm happy for you guys too, because I was just talking to someone at the bar when I was watching the NFC Championship, and they were talking about like, as the Bears, we're used to getting like our second or third guy that we want. Like we got our guy this time.
Yeah.
So I'm happy for that. For you guys.
Yeah. Ben,
any thoughts? I know you're not a Bears fan, but you're in Chicago.
I love the optimism. I want the Bears to do well, honestly. It's just kind of depressing living here and having all the Chicago sports teams kind of suck.
Yeah, that's fair.
But like, I would love to see the Bulls, the Blackhawks, the Bears just like pop off at some point.
Don't forget the Cubs. That's my Chicago
Cubs.
team.
I'm like caught between the Cubs and the White Sox, honestly.
Fuck
the White Sox, dude, they suck, but
yeah.
I don't know. I've been to both games, and I think White Sox games might be more fun in my opinion.
That's fair.
But which is funny because I lived across from Wrigley. I miss that place though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, I hope Ben Johnson does them well. It was pretty obvious that they could, like, their offense was like all over the place this year. They had like bursts of talent between Caleb and Keenan Allen. Doesn't do well until the weather gets cold and he breaks the long sleeves out, and then he does well at the very end of the season. DJ Moore was kind of all over the place. It was just, they kind of just need like that more consistency, and I feel like that's going to come with better coaching.
I agree.
Yeah.
So hopefully next year's a better year.
Someone that knows how to manage the clock. The game against the Lions was one of the most shameful coaching displays I've ever seen before.
Yeah,
on Thanksgiving.
That was bad. Yeah, that was pretty bad.
The last thing that I will say about the Bears situation is one thing, as a Lions fan living in Chicago for the last almost 2 years. The Bears have been bad. Everyone in Chicago knows the Bears have been bad. There's been a lot of respect, I feel like, given by the people of Chicago to the Lions on some we've both been terrible for so long. Now that you're doing well, just out of knowing how bad, how much it hurts to suck, we're happy to see you guys do well. And I've appreciated that from you guys living here, but I think all that shit's dead now. I think the Lions are salty about Ben Johnson over there, and I think that Ben Johnson is going to try his best to hit us with as many trick plays as possible when we play them. Yeah. And I also think that you guys are going to be good next year, so I don't think it's going to be like, hey, we suck, we're rooting for you. I think it's going to be like, hey, we're here now, so let's get it.
Yeah, I agree. With any hope.
Cool. I think now we're about to get into Lexi's lore. So we're going to get her in here. She's got, so for all the viewers, it's going to be some trivia questions prepared by Lex. Can you hear us?
Yeah, hello. Can you hear
me?
Hey,
Lexi.
Hey, Lexi.
What is up? Okay.
Let's see what you got for us.
What kind of trivia are we getting into?
So every single week is going to be a little bit different. But this week happens to be football, actually. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
These are
Made
adorable.
By me, in case you couldn't tell. Okay, sweet. So let's get into it.
Oh.
So week 2, I did my week 1 a little while ago, but week 2 is gonna be football continued. So just a bunch of random questions. Sorry. So last time the style that I kind of did it was I'm gonna read the question and then I'm gonna ask you guys without you seeing the answer options what you think it is, and then we'll look at the options. You guys will pick what you guys' real answers are, and then we'll see who is right and wrong. So
Sounds good.
let's get at it. Number 1 is which team has the 4th most expensive tickets in the NFL?
Is this for like this most recent season?
This wasn't this most recent season. This was the season prior.
Okay. Ravens.
And I did 4th most expensive because I figured the first is probably going to be pretty, like, I don't know, first like 1 to 2 is probably easy to guess. So
Ravens.
Ravens. Anybody else?
We're gonna go 49ers.
Ooh, that's good.
I was
Okay.
leaning 49ers. You know what? I'm gonna go with Miami.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Ooh. Okay. Let's check out the options here.
Oh, not even close.
Okay, I think I might go. If I'm changing my answer, I'd go with A.
You can go Bears.
Yeah, and personally, but that's kind of more based off this season because I was looking at tickets and I was like, holy shit, how is it so expensive? And it's like, is this just like a Soldier Field thing or is this like a Bears franchise thing?
Now they didn't have Caleb Williams last year though. Keep that in
I
mind.
know, so I'm saying it's probably even got more expensive this year, but I don't know. I feel like
Fourth
Philly's
most
like,
in the league. I think it's Philly.
Yeah, I think it's Philly.
oh, I'm holding down with Bears.
No Bears. Okay, so you got
Yeah.
Ben with A, and then Buck and Spencer B.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh shit, my bad. Okay. And
Let
Buck
go.
Damn. Okay.
Crazy.
Good
Go
job, Ben.
Bears.
That's crazy. That makes a lot of
Isn't
sense
it?
though, because I've looked at like getting tickets before too, like when I was talking about, and they've always been expensive. I wouldn't have thought I'm fourth most in the league though. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's crazy.
Here's my thought process. Philly, grimy as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole city. You could probably slither in there for like $100. Green Bay. I know Green Bay just announced, I think this year, that you can legally smoke whatever you want, like in the stadium. So
What?
Wow.
everyone's just like, chiefing cigars, puffing, the bud, doing whatever. And I'm like, there's no way you can charge me $500 to get hot box in a stadium. The Lions were coin flip. I feel like they're a little bit more accessible. And then the Bears thing is just for me looking at seats
Big
and then
market.
getting depressed and never buying tickets.
I wouldn't have thought that somebody wanted to pay hundreds of dollars to go sit and watch a shitty team in December.
And they do all the time.
True.
So
They've got
nuts.
some low fans.
Yeah. While you've got that gif of that's Ditka, right? Buck? Yeah. That Matthew McConaughey commercial is hilarious.
Yeah, it is pretty funny, isn't it?
What you got next for us?
Okay, so question number 2. What year did the NFL start requiring helmets? Now, I believe this goes back, like, in all time as well.
Okay. Okay.
Just to make it a little bit easier to pinpoint. So, like, right before it was even called, like, the NFL officially, how they merged or whatever. So, yeah. What year do you guys think?
1942.
That was
600 BC.
Right. 38. 38.
Okay.
1938.
1938. No, 2038.
I'm gonna need to look at some numbers to make a more educated guess of this one.
No, you can't cheat, Ben. This is from the dome. This is from the dome.
From the dome, I feel like it's got to be around like World War II or something. So like you said 42, I'll go like 45 to make it. 45 sounds like a fun number.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see what these options are.
Oh.
Oh,
Well, I'm rocking
going
with
with
A.
22.
You know
C.
A.
I'm going I'm going B just because it's right in the middle. And
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm either B or C, but I'm going C.
Okay. So Buck is C, Ben is B, Spence is A.
Yeah.
C and A.
Yo, I was almost spot on. For me just to pick a year out of nowhere and be 1 year off.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Damn.
Kind of crazy.
You should have put a picture of their leather helmets that they used to have.
Oh yeah.
I tried to, but like I couldn't get one I couldn't get one.
Just because that's so ridiculous. I know those weren't doing anything.
No.
Yeah, no, they looked like a joke. They looked like they were like jockey helmets, like way back when. They just look like leather. They kind of look like the airplane. You know what I mean?
Aviation hats.
Yeah.
That's kind of what they look like. Okay. Next question. So question 3.
Eddie Lacy. Eddie Lacy.
Who's the heaviest NFL player of all time? You said who?
Eddie Lacy.
No idea.
I'm joking.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, this is gonna sound so bad. I honestly just started paying attention to like the defensive players.
Fridge? Is it the fridge from the Bears?
Oh yeah,
that's a good guess.
That is a good guess. Do you guys know who Eddie Lacy is?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Wasn't he the running back for the Packers back in the day?
The Packers and the Seahawks. Yeah, he basically couldn't stay in the league because he couldn't make weight. He just came in huge. He was coming in at like lineman numbers as a running back.
Yeah, legit.
I can't imagine losing out on millions of dollars because you can't stop eating, but I guess Zion Williamson can relate.
Yeah, I was just about to say Zion Williams is doing a great job. Yeah, my guess is William Perry. I don't know any other guess.
Okay. Yeah, I can spare like Ben, who probably doesn't have any clue what names to even throw here. I'll give you guys the options because this one's a little bit harder to estimate. Okay. Here's my 4 options.
I don't know any of these people.
I'm going Aaron Gibson.
I'm going Trent Brown.
I was thinking Trent Brown. I was thinking Trent Brown too.
So we got Buck is Trent Brown is D. We got Ben is Aaron Gibson, which is B. What you got, Spence?
I'll go with Trent Brown too. That was the name that jumped out at me.
Trent Brown D. Okay. And the winner is B. Aaron Gibson.
Hey, Ben's eating.
Okay.
4-10. Dang, that's crazy.
4'10". Isn't that crazy? That's him and his coach.
Oh my goodness.
I wonder how tall he is.
Wait, he's the Lions player or he's the Browns player?
He's gotta be the Lions.
He's that Lions player right there.
Okay.
Who's squatting and it's still like a whole helmet taller than me.
I wonder how tall he was.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that stat.
That dude is Andre the Giant.
Yeah, fucking huge. Okay.
Are you looking it up, Buck?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, you'll never guess. Take a guess.
5'10".
Nope.
6'5".
Pretty close. 6'6".
Damn. Okay. When you said that, I thought like you meant like he was short.
See, and I would have thought he was taller than he was. Like I was thinking more like 6'9", not 6'6".
Oh,
yeah,
I see.
I would agree. Okay. So question number 4 is who's the shortest player in NFL history?
David Montgomery. No, not Montgomery. Tariq Cohen.
Tariq Cohen, yeah, that's who I was thinking of. Tariq Cohen.
Ben, do you have any guesses?
Yeah, I was just watching one of the playoff games in the last few weeks, and the running back was so small that they were just picking him up and walking him backwards. I'm forgetting who it was. Was it the? I don't have any guesses, but I know Ray Davis is a lot shorter than I expected. He's a little tank.
It's okay. Okay, let's see what the options are here.
What? I thought it was Tariq Cohen, dog. I truthfully thought it was Tariq Cohen.
I'm going B.
You think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is that small?
I think he's short. I mean, he's not small, but he's short.
I don't think that I feel like we'd have heard if like he or Ray Rice were like that tiny.
I guess that's true.
I'm going D. Trindon Holiday.
I'll go with A.
Okay, Buck.
I'll go A.
A.
Ben gets it again.
And
Let's
Yay.
go! Let's go!
hero.
Hey,
He went by
yo!
Best
Alright.
hero.
5 foot.
He was a fullback.
Hey,
And
that
5 foot and a
gif!
half inch.
That gif!
Oh,
Yo, how in the hell are you a fullback at 5 foot, dog? Not a running
okay,
back,
Look how old the picture is, though.
but not a
Yeah, that's
halfback,
what I
a
was gonna
fullback?
they're literally wearing like chinos. That's what it looks like. With a regular belt, like
It does.
with shoulder pad. I don't know.
Full
This just
block.
looks, yeah.
Fullbacks are like the lead blocker, like coming out the back, though. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, that's crazy.
when you line up, I don't know. I feel like I could kill that man. Like Jack Shapiro doesn't want to see me in a fucking Oklahoma drill. I've got almost a foot on him and 100 pounds. He does not want to see me in an Oklahoma drill, dog.
Oh my god. Oh, that's funny.
Yo, Ben could fucking put his hand on bro's head like fucking a adult holding back a little kid.
I was gonna say I'm actually more than 100 pounds heavier than him. Oh, it's like wild to think about.
That's crazy.
And
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
smaller than me in every way. Like he's shorter than me too. That's crazy.
That is wild.
and
That's
a fullback.
This is gonna sound super like logical, but to me it just sounds funny to say out loud. He is 1 inch away from 4'11", and that is like mind blowing.
Yeah. Legit.
Like I said, I could see it maybe. I would assume the shortest player would be a running, like a halfback. Like you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Not a. Wow, I was expecting a small receiving back, like third down back. Not,
Yeah.
Not wow.
I wonder who the lightest
Not
player is.
Benjamin
Though.
Button.
Hey, I know because we're looking at one of these like this picture. I know he was playing with those leather helmets. I know bro had CTE. Like,
100%.
wow.
Crazy. Okay. So this is the last segment here. I think I got like 2 or 3 of these questions, and it's guess that fine. So I got into a deep dive into like the rule book on the NFL website and got into like some of the fines that I thought were kind of crazy for some of the random things. And so yeah, so first we are going to guess what is the fine for an unapproved visor tint for your first
Oh,
offense?
that'll
Like,
it's got to be at least 5K.
I'll go 10K.
I was thinking 5 as well, actually.
okay, let's see what these options are.
Oh,
You guys are
damn.
around a good
A.
range.
I'm going A.
I'll go B.
You're on A.
I'll go
Go
B
B,
just because I don't know why they would charge. Well, I don't know. It's the NFL. They do dumb shit. I don't know why you charge someone such an unround number.
That's
204,
that's exactly why I
628.
chose it, because the NFL does dumb shit like that.
I'm gonna switch my answer to D.
Okay, so Ben is D, Buck is A, Spence.
I've been between B and D this whole time. Ben's been hot. I'm a roll with D.
You follow me, huh?
All right, we got a follower. Okay, so let's see. Hey,
Oh,
hell
damn,
yeah,
okay.
good job, Buck. Yeah, 5,628, which I also thought was just a ridiculous fucking number, and also kind of high for a tint that's unapproved.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, going into the next fine. What is the fine for physical contact with an official? First offense. So
Oh.
not anything that's
10,
Oh.
10 15 grand.
That's gotta be
15?
10K.
11,268.
you get it, I swear, Buck. Ben, what was your guess?
I'm also going around the 10K.
10K.
I'm at
Let's
15.
see what we got.
Oh,
Holy
higher.
smokes!
This is first offense. You should have seen the second offense. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, do y'all
Oh.
remember? Do y'all remember when that player got fined because he was walking by and the ref like butt bumped him?
It was a Bears player. It was the Bears linebacker.
Was it? Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
I think there was a playoff game last weekend where one of the refs actually got dragged into the pile because they were
Yes.
fighting for the ball or something.
Yeah.
That, like who are you billing for that? Like the whole
Yeah.
like O line like. Anyways,
Word up.
I'm going with D. 39,501.
Okay.
What's crazy about that too is like refs be like getting in the middle of a fight, so it's like
Yeah.
you're putting yourself in danger, and then I gotta pay you.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with B.
B. Okay.
Yep.
A.
Okay, so Spence is at A, Buck is B, and Ben is D.
Let's go.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 39,501.
Hey, that dude didn't even try to catch the ball.
No, he did not.
High fiving thing is
But
pretty funny.
I'm on this side of the field, right? Okay, I believe this is. Oh, that was it.
All right.
Yeah. That was good.
Thanks.
That was a good one.
Thank you.
That was great.
My topic changes every single week, and it's probably not always going to pertain to what you guys are talking about. So be prepared. If you're on another episode, it might be about like random animal facts, or
Hell
I don't
yeah.
know.
I love how you cited your
Weather
sources.
Thank you.
Was that an MLA format?
What?
Your
Oh, the
sources?
sources?
Were they cited in MLA
No.
format? No.
No, just the hyperlinks. My English teacher would be so upset right now. She's rolling. But that's okay. I hope she sees this. The hyperlink isn't even fully done. So yeah.
Hell yeah! Thank you for
guys.
doing this with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course. No problem. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
And bye.
See ya. Damn, that's a lot of money.
Dog, for making contact with an official?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What'd y'all think about that? Down with the trivia?
That was fun.
Yeah,
I
I
like
like that. I like that.
Plus, I learned some things.
True.
Yeah, true.
I can't believe how short that guy was.
Yeah, that's insane. You know that was so many years ago. Like, that guy would die in this league.
Can you
Oh,
imagine? He was a fullback. Can you imagine him popping out the
Yeah.
hole and making contact with motherfucking
Ooh.
Myles Garrett?
Yeah, oh, God. No.
God. All right. So we've got. We're gonna hit a quick little WNBA story, NBA story, and then hit last two topics after that. In the middle of the NFL playoffs, WNBA trade bomb hits. Kelsey Plum of the Vegas Aces is now going to be with the LA Sparks. Jewel Lloyd from the Seattle, is it Mystics? No, not
No,
Mystics.
Seattle Storm.
Storm, yes, sorry. Seattle Storm is now going to be on the Aces. Buck, you want to start with this?
Yeah, this one's kind of crazy. This kind of started, I think, a while back from Jewel Lloyd. There was some drama going on with her in Seattle, so she requested a trade a while ago. So her leaving wasn't the big surprise. I think where it added in the KP and added in the Sparks is where I was like, whoa, this is pretty big. So it shakes out to where the Aces receive the number 13 draft pick, if I'm not mistaken, in 25, and then they get Jewel Lloyd. The Sparks get KP, which, I mean, obviously is I think the big headline there. But they also get the number 9 pick in the 25 draft, and I think they get a second round, if I'm not mistaken, in 26. The Storm just they could get one player and a couple of picks.
Doesn't the Storm get the number 2 pick?
Yeah, the number 2 pick this draft, a player and first round from in the 2026 draft from Vegas.
Dog, I mean, the number 2 pick is kind of crazy. That's going to be...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that is crazy. I just think I'm curious how they go with that pick and how it shakes out with their team. So this also brings a good point of the draft's coming up. Paige Beckers obviously is probably going to go number 1.
Yep.
And rumors are starting to spread whether Dallas might trade their number 1. And does LA or Seattle go and try to nab that number 1 to get Paige? Or does, how does that shake out for the long term in the draft? But I think the big storyline, the headline here is the Aces get Jewel, and that's crazy. But KP to LA Sparks are going to be super competitive, I think, out the gate, especially getting Cameron Brink back. So I think they're going to be a little bit of an underdog. I think it's going to be interesting to see Kelsey play on a different team, kind of coming in as an underdog, coming off of a really good run with the Aces. And I think Jewel Lloyd will flourish in that offense. And I think the Aces are just going to be tough to beat again. You know what I mean? So crazy shakeup. Not official until February 1st, though. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I don't know if that means, I think everything's on paper, but I don't think anything can be official until February 1st.
My jaw dropped when I saw that. I was like, yo, the Aces are getting Jewel? That's going to be crazy. That girl can hoop. That girl can really hoop. And adding her to an already dominant Aces team is going to be nuts. I'm surprised that they no longer have Kelsey Plum. I felt like she was a big part of the team. But, getting the chance to add Jewel to it it makes sense. Why might the Wings trade their number one?
Other players, other trades, free agency is going crazy, and starting this year. I don't think they will, because, why would you?
Why would you not want Paige? She's like...
Exactly, that's my argument. No, exactly, and that's my argument. But at the same time, the WNBA, I think, is a little bit crazier when it comes to that type of stuff. Sorry, I just looked up, and there's a full-on fight in the fan section during this college basketball game.
What team?
VCU and St. Louis.
Okay.
Looks like they stopped the game. But anyway, yeah. I don't know why. I don't think you trade that away. I think you take Paige Beckers any day of the week. I think when you get an opportunity to get it's like it would have been like the Fever trading their number one pick away to not take Caitlin Clark. It's unimaginable. But
right.
There are other great players out in the league right now, and who knows?
Beckers is a walking bucket, so that'd be interesting. Who they've got another really good player, right? They don't. What team is Arik on? Do you know?
Who?
Arik, is that how you say her name? Arika Gumbawale?
Oh, wasn't she on the Sparks? And then I think she moved. That's a good question. I can't remember now.
I thought that the Wings have another good player, don't they? Or am I tripping?
No, you're not.
I'm not.
And sure. I think we're thinking of the same person.
Yeah. Let me see if I can look it up.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
What
she's on there too, and it's
Doug, Arik and Paige on the same team would be nuts. I don't know why they wouldn't want to see that.
Yeah, that would be nuts. They'd get a decent player.
Yeah, that's true. They'd probably get a lot for her. It's talking about another generational player.
Absolutely.
So speaking of wild movements with players, Jimmy Butler, dude. I thought that James Harden knew how to make an ugly exit.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler, man, he's this has been an interesting saga for a few reasons. So Shams Charania had reported a while back that he wanted to trade, and Jimmy's agent came out on Twitter and called him a fucking liar. And that's all I can say, dog, is you looking real shiesty right now, publicly calling this man a liar, knowing that this shit was coming.
Yeah.
Jimmy wants out. The Heat aren't going to just give him away for a bag of chips. Pat Riley is too true to this game to just let a player bully him out of getting some resources back.
Yeah.
So he's going to, hold Jimmy till he can get some good value back from him. And Jimmy, man, and I'm not even necessarily, I think it's interesting because if I'm not mistaken, Jimmy still has 2 years left on his contract. So it's interesting. At
least a year.
So it's interesting how that works. But I know that he had got suspended already. Then he got suspended again for missing the plane, right? Missing a flight. And then got suspended again just recently, indefinitely now. for I think walking out of shoot around after finding out that he was going to get like benched or something like that.
Yep.
Mhm.
So I mean now he's, yeah, they told him, hey, go sit down, take a beat. We'll let you know when either you can come back or we find someone somewhere for you to go.
So who do you think's going to pick up Jimmy? Because obviously, I feel like someone's going to have to grab him eventually. He's not going to stay on the Heat or just not play for the rest of his career, right?
Early
Yeah.
things that I've heard so far have been the Suns, but
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I've also heard that Miami doesn't want Bradley Beal's contract.
Mm.
Mhm.
So I don't know. It doesn't make. He's expressed that he would go literally anywhere else, which I think is interesting. Usually teams have like a few places that they want to go. He said, "I'll go anywhere." So I don't know, places that I feel like he could be a decent fit. He was already in Minnesota before, wasn't he?
And he did basically the same thing.
Because I think that he'd be an interesting fit now that Karl Anthony Towns is gone. Because he used to get on Cat. Now that he's gone, I could see him being an interesting fit there. I could see him being an interesting fit with the Lakers, with the Clippers, actually. Although I don't know if the Clippers want to deal with that. They've already got their hands full with fucking Kawhi's health.
Yeah.
I don't know. As a Lakers fan, I always feel like I want everyone to go there. I just saw that the Kings are looking at potentially trading De'Aaron Fox, and I was like, oh shit, can the Lakers get him? But I just saw that I think Shams was saying that he doesn't want to go to the Lakers, which is interesting because you get to stay in LA or get to stay in Cali. But I'm not sure. Ben, do you have a place that you think you'd want to see him at?
The Knicks.
Back with Cat again? Cat would cry.
Yeah.
That's true.
They don't want to upset Big Bodega.
Yeah. I honestly don't think it'd be bad for him to go to the Suns. But I honestly just like watching the Suns play, the Suns and the Knicks. So there's no logic for me behind it. Also, I just enjoy Jimmy Butler as a person.
Yeah, he's got a good game. I mean, he's taken them to the and I understand why he feels like he deserves more money. I mean, the Heat relevancy is really because of Jimmy currently. He's taken them
100%.
to the finals twice since he's been there. And the Heat, for as much of a, like, I guess, cornerstone franchise that they've kind of made themselves into, they're not a destination for free agents, which is interesting considering they're literally in South Beach. But, I mean, people aren't going there. Like, no one's leaving and like, oh, yeah, I'll go play with the Heat. Like, that's not happening. And I feel like people see stuff happen kind of with Pat Riley, him not being really like a player's guy, more of like an organizational guy. People aren't jumping to go over there. I would think that you'd want to do whatever you could do to make them happy, like when they're there. But interesting situation with that. I think that once Jimmy's gone, they're about to go into nothing.
100%. I mean, they are nothing without Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, like Bam is straight, but they're not going to be a team that's playoff. Jimmy is what's been carrying them.
100%. April, May, June, Jimmy is a force to be reckoned with. You know what I mean? And I think it's crazy how it devolved so quickly into suspensions. I mean, yeah, he missed the plane, and yeah, he's walking out and shooting practice. Like, I get it. It's not great. It's not a great look, but
I think both sides
to not play arguably your best player is also somewhat egregious. So
I think both sides are making themselves look really bad right now. I think that Jimmy
I agree
is
completely.
adding to his like reputation of kind of being, for lack of a better word, a cancer. The fact that things go well, he plays really hard, and then it blows up, and then he leaves. Yeah. Like I said, kind of like a James Harden almost, but in more stops that it's happened. Whereas the Heat, I think, Pat Riley beefed with LeBron while he was there. They're beefing with Jimmy. Like, you can't keep your franchise players happy and then they want to leave. I think that that's not a great look for them trying to attract more players, especially as not being a place that seems to attract free agents already.
Right. Agreed.
Anything else before we get into the next one? Okay. So
I hope he finds somewhere, though.
What'd you say?
I was just saying, I hope he finds somewhere. He's a great player. I hope he finds something that I'm happy.
You know, it would be I don't think it will happen, but you know, it would be an interesting situation. Is what if he winds up with the Bucks?
That would be interesting.
Dame, Jimmy, Giannis. I don't know.
I don't know. I think we're probably running out of money at this point.
That's fair. We're over here just playing fantasy basketball. Just where
Yeah,
would it be
right.
cool to see him at?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got 2 topics left for tonight. Since we've got Ben on tonight, we kind of already talked about the fact that you're from New York and live in Chicago. I quite often get on social media and see big debates over which of the 2 cities is better. I see people from Chicago hating on New York hating on Chicago. What's your take on this?
That's crazy that Chicago could hate on New York.
Oh, it's like that?
Yeah, I feel like this is like a deeper question. Like, there's levels to this. Like, what's the take? I mean, honestly, I'm from New York. I'm from upstate New York, and then I spent a lot of time in New York City during my like college years and after my college years.
I mean,
But
like,
Chicago, I've been here for 2.5, 3 years, so gotten most of the Chicago experience. I would say I'm not like born and raised Chicago. There's probably stuff I'm still missing, but I think after experiencing the place that New York City is that there's nowhere on earth that will be like New York City, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. I mean, it smells like shit. It's dirty. It's kind of crazy. But there's also like that's part of like the New Yorker experience is like you're literally built from the ground. You're built from oh fuck my chair. You're built from the trash. Like I don't know, but
Yeah.
there's so much like the culture in New York is just like unbeatable, which I think is the big thing for me. Versus the Chicago culture seems to be like a heavily like suburban influence in like a metropolitan area.
okay. What do you think? Which one do you think has better food?
Oh, New York, obviously. I think Chicago has good food. There's a lot of good eats here, but whatever you can find in Chicago, you can find like twice as better in New York. I haven't found anything here that I've thought was good that's Chicago exclusive. I mean, deep dish is Chicago exclusive, but I don't think it's good. Italian beef is Chicago exclusive. My voice cracked, and I think it's beef on bread dipped in like sauce. Like you can get that at like a deli in New York.
I was more laughing at the fucking at taking a shot at deep dish pizza. That's like Chicagoans will die for that.
I don't understand why that you're better off like trying to beat out like a chicken pot pie or lasagna. Like I don't know why you're competing in the pizza category.
I've always felt the same in that aspect too. Of like compared to what everyone else in the world considers to be pizza, Chicago like deep dish pizza isn't like pizza. It's a pie. It's like pizza pie.
Yeah, I
like
put like
basketball.
Detroit style pizza comes way above deep dish pizza for me.
Like
Yeah.
I don't consider them almost even in the same categories.
Yeah,
It's crazy because most people like from Chicago, it's not like deep dish is what they think of and go to. It's really thin crust. It's like a pan thin crust type of situation. So it's always funny. Like don't get me wrong. I mean, Geno's East, Giordano's, Lou Malnati's. They're staples, and they're staples for a reason. But like growing up, like we never got deep dish. Like every once in a while, it'd be a thing. Oh yeah, like we haven't been there in a while. Let's just go. But like generally speaking, like my favorite pizza places are not deep dish. They're not Giordano's.
that's good to hear. I've had a decent amount of thin sliced pizza here too, and I just don't think they do it as well as New York.
I've been here for almost. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I've always heard that New York like pizza is very like thin, doughy, greasy, like 3D printed.
3D printed. Wow, that's a strong word. I was like, when the Italians kill her for Sicily, where do you think they ended up? They started in New York and then they went west.
And that's why their pizza's greasy.
Where do you think? Oh, no, 99-cent pizza in New York City will beat any pizza in Chicago.
Okay.
I'll die on the hill. And then there's like actual good pizza that's not like 99-cent pizza, but I think 99-cent pizza is like a New York staple.
Yeah.
Is chopped cheese all that it's made to be?
What do you mean by all it's made to be? Like the hype's worth it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the hype's worth. I think it's like Italian beef. Like if you're in like Chicago and you're going for some like junk food, go get like Italian beef. If you're out at lunch in New York and you got like the deli's the closest thing, I'm gonna get a chopped cheese. I'm gonna get a bacon, egg, and cheese. I'm a, bagel cream cheese. Like, Lox Bagels. I don't know, the food options there are endless. It goes beyond just bagel items, bakeries, and pizza. Like New York actually does the cultural melting pot thing a lot better than Chicago does, in my opinion. Because I feel like in New York, any neighborhood or any borough you're in, you can get good Mexican food, good Chinese food, good whatever, without having to go all the way to Chinatown for good Chinese food or all the way to Pilsen or Rogers Park for good Mexican food.
Yeah.
That's fair. I do feel like the Chinese food up by where I'm at is awful. Chinese food in Chinatown here is really good, but the Chinese food like by me, it's
For
not.
sure.
Yeah.
One thing Chicago has in New York, though, it's affordable.
Yes, I was
It's
gonna
a
say
lot more.
like indisputably affordable. Like right.
Yeah, like rent is a lot cheaper here, which is like the big thing. Food's a little bit cheaper for the most part, like groceries and eating out.
What would you say like weather, both summer and winter?
Okay, that's a good one. I think Chicago summers will definitely beat New York summers because New York summers are gonna be hot, humid, not for the weak. It's like you put your foot on, you get on the subway, you get off the subway, you're drenched, you need to deodorize. Like it's a
Yeah.
struggle. But I mean, summer in New York is only 3 months, so it's like the rest of the year you're chilling.
That's fair. What about,
I'm
who's
used
the worst
to
winters?
Chicago definitely has worse winters than New York City. Buffalo would have worse winters. Like Buffalo, Rochester definitely have worse winters than Chicago. But those are like three different like longitude latitudes, I guess. But Chicago's pretty cold.
Okay. Any other major differences? Oh. Let me ask you about another one. Can you go swimming in New York? Because I've heard there's not a lot of like
You gotta
bodies
go to
of
like
water.
you gotta go to Long Island. You will not catch anybody in the Hudson River, and if you
Right.
do, you should not talk to them or go near them.
Right,
Um,
that's dead. Like
You gotta go to like I mean people like Jones Beach used to be the place. Fire Island is like a state park there. But it's technically like on Long Island and it's kinda you gotta go pretty far out of the city to actually go there.
but like
But you're actually in the ocean, which is the big difference.
like unplanned is just a nice day and you have the day off. Unplanned, it's not as accessible to get in a body of water in New York, right?
It's still pretty accessible because the transit system there is like way beyond Chicago's, which is kind of crazy. Like even if it's like kind of dirty, it's like you can get anywhere in New York in under like 30 minutes.
Is it?
See, that's what I hate about the Chicago rail system. Is like it is not as extensive as it could be.
Yeah,
That's true.
it's very limited to like north and south for some parts, and then when you're out in the west, it's like east and west, and you can't go north and south.
Yeah.
And the trains don't come as frequently, and they don't move as fast either.
Hmm.
So
What about the experience being on the trains?
Chicago's a lot more chill, to be honest. There's a lot less weirdos in Chicago, which is funny because I know the Red Line gets a lot of shit. But when I'm on the Red Line in Chicago, I could probably name like 3 or 4 different train lines in New York City that are like that. But then if you go to upstate New York, which I think is a completely different world than New York City, it's like there is no public transit. There's a bus system, but no one rides the bus system. It's like so.
Is it just?
But that's like comparing like parts of Illinois to Chicago.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So, yeah.
Anything else that you would add on? I've never been to New York before.
I think the music scene in both cities is phenomenal.
Okay.
I think it's a little bit more expensive in New York to go see like larger artists that are like more mainstream, especially with venue prices and drink prices compared to Chicago. I've been able to see a lot of like big DJs for like $35 or $50. Where in New York City, I'm paying $100 per ticket.
Yeah.
One of the things
but-
I've loved. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go on.
That's one of the things I've loved, like from coming from Michigan, like not in like a super big, like not Detroit, not Grand Rapids, like coming to Chicago. And I forget sometimes because it's been so many years of me being in Michigan that like I'll see like someone's gonna be here, and I'm like, they're coming here, and I'm like, oh wait a second, you are like in one of the biggest cities in the U.S.
Right.
Like yeah, of course they're coming here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chicago's a sleeper city. It's great. I love how like the size it is and the opportunities that it brings.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of being here. Anything else that you want to add to the debate? You're saying New York is king, though.
Yeah, I'll always be New York's king, but it's also because it's like I'm biased because I'm from there and lived upstate, spent a lot of time downstate in the actual city. Have a decent amount of friends and family there, out in like Queens and Long Island and Brooklyn.
That's
But there's a lot of similarities too, honestly. Like we shit on Staten Island all the time. We say it's not one of our boroughs, kind of like how Chicago shits on Naperville for not being part of Chicago. It's literally the same conversation, it's a different city, and I'm sure other cities have that too.
That's fair. Cool. Well, that's something, like I said, I wanted to ask you because, like I said, I've never been there before, but I see a lot of the back and forth on it.
Yeah, if you do go, I'll definitely have to give you guys recommendations, places to go. And I always do the touristy things if you want, but a lot of people go to New York City, they see the Statue of Liberty, they see Times Square, and they're like, oh, I hate New York City. It's like, hey, you're not supposed to go to those places. Like,
Yeah.
it sucks. Like, you gotta go get down deep in Brooklyn or have fun in Queens and go shopping in Soho, and take the train, take the lure out to Long Island to hit a beach day.
Yeah. That's what I was telling Spencer. I was like, yeah, like if I went to New York, I'd need like a good week and a half, 2 weeks, because I'd want to do like each and everything, like, and I don't want to see like Times Square at all. Like that's the last.
It's the worst place in New York.
Yeah, like I do not want to go there. That's the one thing I do know about New York is like that's not the place you want to go when you go there.
Right. You got to find someone that lives there, make friends with someone that has lived there for a few years or is from there, and get the real experience.
I have one question for each of you, and then we'll do a quick last segment. Ben, who's winning the Super Bowl? I'm putting you on the spot. Gun to your head.
Bro. I'll just pull the trigger, bro. I'm not watching that shit.
Really?
No, I'm kidding. I'll probably end up watching it. I think the Chiefs will probably win.
Buck?
I think the Chiefs are going to win. I hope the Eagles do.
So that's exactly how I feel too.
Gun to my head, I can't bet against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then...
What a world to live in.
Last topic of the day. We're still trying to think of a name for this segment, but basically we're going to read you guys a few of the funny this time. Well, it's gonna be funny posts in general from social media that I think are worth sharing. So, Buck, I think you had one.
Yeah, this was before the AFC Championship game. I saw this on Twitter, and it starts off, so it's Jim Nance, in quotes, intercepted by Taron Johnson, and for the first time in 31 years, the Buffalo Bills are going to the soup. And then it goes, Tony Romo, oh, Jim, we got a late flag.
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
I saw that as well. That is hilarious. Damn. Okay, so I've got three quick ones. Mahomes wears 15 because that's how many yards it is if you make contact with him.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yep.
It's a good one.
I don't want to hear shit about Pete Carroll being too old to coach football. Y'all just elected 2 presidents in a row that were born before TVs were made and gave them motherfuckers access to bombs and shit.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's
TVs were made, dog. Last one. Pete Carroll, top 3 funniest coaches of all time. 73 years old, no QB, just took the job for the love of the game and for his hatred of Jim Harbaugh. And somebody commented and said, how can you not be romantic about this sport? I also saw a tweet that was saying, like, it was a picture of Pete Carroll as, like, the Joker from The Dark Knight being held out the window, and it was, like, him talking to Jim Harbaugh. And it was like, I think we're just destined to repeat the cycle over and over again.
Oh, fuck, that's fun. Yeah.
But thank you guys. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Buck, for popping in tonight. Thank you, everybody, for watching us. This, again, was the first episode of Late Entry. We're going to be dropping an episode every Wednesday. I believe we're trying to do Wednesday at noon Eastern will be when it launches. So
Sweet.
Thank you guys for everybody once again. And come check us out. Let us know in the comments what you think. Give us a like, subscribe, follow, and help us name that last segment. All right. Peace out, everybody.